So I said to the CIA, I have information that bin Laden's in Ladiz. This is their response to me. Mr. Chairman, we've heard similar reports. We can either confirm or deny them. I was in shock. We're sending kids to die in Afghanistan, and we can't confirm or deny whether or not bin Laden's in Ladiz? 3 months go by. I'm still supporting the president. My intel team comes back to me and say, Kurt, he's being treated at a military hospital outside of Tehran. I go back to the classified briefing and I ask the question in front of the full committee. And the answer from the CIA is, Mr. Chairman, we've heard similar reports. We can either confirm or deny that bin Laden is being treated at a military hospital outside of Tehran while we're sending kids to die in Afghanistan. I said, this is outrageous. And then, Tucker, I get a call from Jack Murtha, the most respected Democrat in the House, former Marine, who I work with closely. And he says to me, I want you to meet with Ron Klink, Democrat from Pittsburgh. And Ron Klink's still alive. He'll verify this, Tucker. Jack's dead, but Ron's alive. He said, Jack has a person who used to work for the agency that has information about Iran. And you investigate this kind of stuff, Kurt. Will you meet with him? I said, sure. Ron Klink comes to my office and brings this very tall man who's a former person from the Swedish area, but he's a U.S. citizen. And I said, how can I help you? You know, Congressman Murtha asked me to help. Ron Klink wants me to help. He said, Congressman, I want you to help me get into Iran. I said, why do you want to go to Iran? He said, that's where bin Laden is. I said, why would you tell me that bin Laden's in Iran? He said, I was a knock for the agency. Do you know what a knock is?
Yeah, non-official cover.
That's right. He said, I was a knock for the agency, and I worked that area. And my friends are seeing bin Laden in Iran. If you help me get to Tehran, I'll leave my identity there. I'll get a piece of him, dead or alive, and I'll bring it back. At the time, there was a $25 million reward for bin Laden. I said, I can't help you right now because I'm in a battle over this follow-up to 9/11. Then I get another call, Tucker, from the Interior Department, totally separate. They want to bring in their top bird man, their bird expert. I didn't think that was unusual because I was the Republican on the Migratory Bird Commission. The Migratory Bird Commission.
No, there was a migratory.
It oversees all the flyways for all the refuges up and down the coast. I was the Republican.
Duck hunters like me, thank you, by the way.
John Dingell was a Democrat.
Of course, I've duck hunted with him,
2 senators and 3 cabinet members. So I figured they want to talk about birds. I'm on the Bird Commission. I'll meet with them. So this Interior Department bird expert brings in a U.S. citizen from Maine who's a Sikh, but he's a U.S. citizen, very wealthy family. And he's got 2 falcons on his shoulders, $1 million birds with the blinders on, beautiful, into my office. I said, good boy, they're gorgeous. How can I be? He said, well, Congressman, I've devoted my life to falcons. He said, I helped write the UN protection treaties on falconry. He said, I trained all the children of the royal families in the sport of falconry.
Yes.
Because that's their sport. He said, they all know me. They all trust me.
In the Arab world, it's huge.
Yes.
Yes.
He said, so, and I want to help the country, and there's a reward for bin Laden. I said, yeah, I know that. He said, I want you to help me go to Iran. I said, why do you want to go to Iran? Now, he knows nothing about anything else I'm doing. My falconers are seeing bin Laden's birds flying in Iran. You help me go to Iran, they'll accept me there because they know me. I'll tag his birds, and I'll take the U.S. to exactly where he is. That's four full source identities that bin Laden was exactly where my intel people said he was.
Let me get this straight. We killed the most wanted man in the world, and we buried him at sea? Like, really? We spent 20 years, no autopsies, no photos, no confirmation, just a politician saying, hey, trust us. We did right by you, right? Trust us. Trust us. All right? Joe Biden is fit to serve. Trust us. We're not spying on the American people. Trust us. Really? If you think bin Laden died in the raid that took place in 2011, you're a freaking idiot, right? Simply said, that statement is not clickbait. It's not conspiracy. That's a challenge to every thinking American who's tired of being lied to by the same government that sends us to war and profit off all the bloods that shed. And Here's what I'm going to do today. Today, guys, I'm going to walk you through exactly why the official story that they told you just doesn't add up. And how, in my opinion, we've all been played by the same machine that's supposed to protect and take care of veterans and citizens alike. Let's rewind the clock a little bit. It's 2003. And the Battle of Tora Bora is going on. U.S. Special Operation Forces are zeroing in on a broken and injured Osama bin Laden. They're all confirmed reports. I'm talking about boots on the ground confirming he was critically wounded. And some have even said that he died at Tora Bora. If that's true, why didn't we recover the body? Why wasn't the mission declared over? The truth is, the government saw an opportunity to prolong a war, expand surveillance, and funnel billions of taxpayer dollars into a never-ending machine. 20 years, guys, 20 freaking years we spent in that country. And during those 20 years, politicians cashed in, soldiers died, families destroyed, and PTSD skyrocketed. Think about that for a second, guys. And for what? So war-based companies could hit quarterly profits, right? Is that what we did it for? Because look at Afghanistan now. It's right back to where it started. If bin Laden died in 2003, then every single year that we spent in that country was based on a lie. And I know what you're thinking. The government doesn't lie. Hell, dude, we just found out that former President Joe Biden has had cancer the entire time he was in office. And guess what? They kept it from us. Think about that. The last time we as citizens fully trusted the government was before the assassination of JFK. Now, let's say for whatever reason, scenario number one did not happen, right? He did not die at Tora Bora, right? Let's say he survived Tora Bora and escaped into Pakistan, right? Let's say that was a reality. Let's say that happened. Now, let's ask the real question as it relates to him escaping into Pakistan. You mean to tell me, and keep in mind, guys, I spent 20 years in the military, 15 in special operations. You mean to tell me from 2003 to 2011, with the most powerful intelligence apparatus on earth, the CIA, MI6, Pakistani ISI, nobody could find this dude? Public enemy number one, we couldn't find him in Pakistan? We can drone strike an individual on a phone call based on that signal. We can read license plate from space, but we couldn't find the most wanted man in the world. Do I have stupid written across my forehead? Do you, as an American citizen, have stupid written across your forehead? And if not, why are you believing this? Why are you eating this shit up? Of course we can find him, guys. Truth of the matter is we knew exactly where he was, but he was useful. Intelligence agencies were using him for leverage, for operations, for political currency. All right? Keep that in mind. And towards the back end of the show, I'm going to show you how Barack Obama leveraged Osama bin Laden dying to get reelected in 2012. All right? And truth of the matter is, guys, once the clock ran out in 2011, the Pakistanis handed him over. All right? Keep it in mind. He was right down the road from a freaking military academy. Once they handed him over, the U.S. came in for the killed. Right? They used SEAL Team 6, the most public, the most Hollywood, the most commercialized unit in special operations. All right? That's what they did. Why? Because they were putting on a show. They didn't use the unit behind the fence. Right? The unit with zero fail. The unit that is cloaked in secrecy. Ask yourself, why didn't they use those guys? Why? And I'll tell you why, guys. It's because they wanted to make a spectacle out of it. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't just about getting bin Laden, right? It was about selling the mission. It was PR. It was optics. It was election year theatric. They wanted something that looked good. They wanted something they could make into a movie. They didn't want anything that could stay in the shadows. And using the guys behind the fence, that's exactly what you would get. And guess what? You bought it, right? I remember that announcement and just the entire country erupting into joy and happiness. I remember that day just for the words of the president, a word of a politician. And meanwhile, we in the military are going, where's the proof? Right? Where's the pictures? Right? Like, where's it at? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right? And that within itself should tell you something. Right? Right? So let me get this straight. We killed the most wanted man in the world and we buried him at sea? Like, really? We spent 20 years, no autopsies, no photos, no confirmation, just a politician saying, hey, trust us. We did right by you, right? Trust us. Trust us. All right? Joe Biden is fit to serve. Trust us. We're not spying on the American people. Trust us. Really? Meanwhile, Saddam Hussein publicly hung, right? Spent 20 years in Iraq for that. Gaddafi beaten and filmed in the streets. But yet, Osama bin Laden, nothing, right? They were both Muslim leaders, both enemies of the United States. So why did they get a public showing and Osama bin Laden didn't? And what they told you was, we respectively buried him at sea. Why didn't you respectively bury the other two at sea so they didn't get a spot for people to go worship him? Because truth of the matter is, guys, this wasn't about Islam, right? It was about secrecy, right? You don't bury closure at sea. You bury inconvenient truth at sea. If you haven't buried him, if he's even dead. This is what I think truly happened. And keep in mind, guys, I'm a Green Beret. I've deployed, I've led, I've lost. I know exactly how these missions work, right? We know the game. At the end of the day, targets don't just vanish. They get leverage. They get broken. They get used. And they're used until they are no longer valuable. So ask yourself, is bin Laden still valuable? Is the most wanted man in the world still valuable? And if he is, then is he still hanging around, right? Is he still providing intelligence, right? Is he still being used by the agency, right? If you got public enemy number one in your hand, this is what you do, guys. You interrogate him. You train him. You don't just dump him in the ocean. That's not what you do. And the fact that there is no proof of that actually happening, just a simple, hey, trust us, we're the government, we'll do what's best for you, goes to show you that something bigger is going on, right? So I think that once Pakistan was truly done with him, they called the United States. They're like, hey, we are done with Osama bin Laden. What do you want to do? All right. I think the Barack Obama organization staged a fake hit. They staged a fake rescue. They went and got him. And then they realized, no, we're not going to kill him. We still have more interrogation to do. So they crafted a story saying that he was lost, he was buried at sea, he was killed, etc., etc. And meanwhile, he's still being held and he's still being interrogated. Guys, you don't kill the number one public enemy of the United States and not give the American people closure, and not give the soldiers closure, and not give the families, the widows, the children closure. You don't do that. At the end of the day, they know that their word is not enough. It hasn't been enough for the United States military. It hasn't been enough for the veteran. So why would they say it? They said it because they expect you, the citizen, to believe it. They know we don't believe it, but they want you to believe it. So why did they do it? Guys, at the end of the day, it's 2011. Barack Obama is looking at re-election, right? What big of an ace, what big of a card can he play that's going to guarantee him re-election in 2012? Hey, we got Osama bin Laden. He's dead. Oh, where's the proof? Don't worry about the proof. These are not the drones you're looking for, right? Don't worry about the proof. He's dead. Take my word. I'm a politician. It has to be correct. And guess what? We ate that shit up. 2012, he gets reelected, and that's the end of it. Right? Meanwhile, no closure till this day. This is still being discussed within the military realm. So I'm leaving it to you guys. What do you think happened? What do you think happened to Osama bin Laden? Did he die in 2003 at Tora Bora, right? And if not, was he still alive in 2011, right, for that raid? And is he alive now? Because at the end of the day, we buried him at sea. It's a bunch of bullshit, right? That did not happen. There's no way they expect us to believe that, but they expect you. But I know you're smarter than that, right? Because you rock with me over here at Beret Chronicles. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. Until next time, take care of yourself.